Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Must Love Yarn podcast. It's Thursday. We
It
seem
is.
to be managing to get back on sort of our normal podcast schedule to an extent. And so we are broadcasting or recording from remote locations. Normally, we would record at our yarn shop in Shelburne, Vermont, where we sell all kinds of things woolly, including a huge amount of Vermont products. And so you can find the store out on the web, all forms of social media as Must Love Yarn. So feel free to follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, come check out our website where you can shop and see lots of other things. And I'm Angela.
And I'm Kelly.
And you can find me out on social media, Instagram and Ravelry as Junior Bird Kid.
And you can find me on Instagram as KELLYSPINS, and you can find me on Ravelry as KELLYSPINS.
Yep. And feel free to follow on those pages as well, with the caveat that Instagram account is my personal account. So you'll see other stuff like bears. Stay around for the outtakes to see more or hear more about the bears. Yeah. But speaking of bears or animals, we do have podcast and store mascots.
And they traveled with you today.
They did travel. I have reinstituted the podcast bag. And so, which is where I just kind of chuck stuff that I know we're going to talk about. So the meerkats have kind of been living in that bag. So we have a mob of meerkats. This is the group that has been quarantined at my house. So this is Gage, our original meerkat. And this is Gage's friend, Stitch. Swatch.
Swatch was first, and then Stitch.
I can't keep my meerkat babies straight.
I think that's how it came.
And then this is one of our newer additions, Stitch. We have a few more at the store, some of which have not yet been named. Though somebody suggested Pearlescence, and I was like, ooh, that's a good one. So they also have an Instagram page, which has been woefully ignored in recent months. But I have a 3-day weekend, so let's see what I can do to get that Instagram page more pictures and stuff. It hopefully will not involve me throwing meerkats at bears, but you never know.
And hopefully it won't involve meerkat playing with sparklers.
Well,
they don't want to burn their little paws.
That's true. Stay tuned. You never know. You never know what you're going to see out there. Isn't that the truth?
The truth.
That's the truth. So normally with our podcast, this is the point in which we would do a pick of the week. We have sort of put that on the back burner for a couple of months. And what we are running instead is fundraisers. We're running fundraisers for different organizations. And we run them for 2 weeks. And so last week we showed all of the fun yarn and project bags and stitch markers and goodies that were a part of this time's fundraising efforts. We have that linked in show notes. We have the information up on our website. And you can go see all of the details, see what's available in this basket, and which organization we are supporting for this drive. And Kelly, do you have a number for folks on where we are with donations?
I don't have my laptop down here with me, and that's what has all the information on there. This one's going a little slower. But I think that, the first one, a lot of people just donated to right away.
Yeah.
So the organization that the money for this 2-week period is Color of Change. And so all the money will go to that. Our first fundraiser we did went to Black Lives Matter, and we raised $625, I think it was, for that one. This one, I think we're probably just over $100
Okay.
On this one. So
okay. And so the way it works is for every $5 donation that you make, you get one entry for the prize pack. So that's how we've set that up. And we're tracking it through PayPal, which is the entity that we're using for the donations.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's some really cool yarn. It's all yarn that's out of my stash. So this is the three of us, Kelly, Jen, and I, have offered up personal stash items for these gift baskets, as just a way to sort of give back.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out. That's there's some cool stuff in there, if I do say so myself.
There are. Yeah, this one is mostly all Angie's yarn. So I think this one is actually all Angie's yarn. The first one was all yarn from me. And then we've had some leftovers from past seasons of Vermont boxes that we've done for like the notions and bags and things. So there's some really, really cool stuff in there.
Yep. So take a look, and if I get really fancy, I'll suck the picture of the prize pack off of it and put it in so you can see it.
Nice.
See what we're talking about. But
nice.
Yes, and we'll be doing this every 2 weeks through the summer this year.
Yep.
And then we'll get back to our regular pick of the week stuff in the fall. So we wanted to do something just a little bit different.
Yeah.
For a while. So anyway. I am not wearing any hand knits, but I am wearing a knitting related shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a shirt that I purchased as a part of a fundraiser that Neighborhood Fiber Company was doing. And it says community on it. And they raised a huge amount of money with this fundraiser. I want to say like $30,000.
Yeah, I knew it was a lot, but I didn't hear the final number.
I don't know if it was all from the t-shirt sales, because they have this logo and design on other stuff, project bags and some other things.
Yeah.
So
that's I like that t-shirt. That's really cute.
It's it's comfortable, and the design is really nice, and I
like it that it says community on the bottom. That's really nice.
Yes. Yeah. So I think this stuff might still be for sale. It would be on the Neighborhood Fiber Company's website. So if you're interested, maybe we'll throw in a link. I'll go see if I can find the link and put it into show notes. Like I said, they have other stuff as well. So if you don't want a t-shirt, there's project bags and things.
I think they were going to do like a permanent organization that's gonna, they'll keep introducing products and things where the proceeds of those will go directly to the organization that's helping fight social injustice. And
nice. Awesome.
Yeah,
super cool. And so I don't have any finished objects this week.
I have like nothing to show. I have nothing to show. Like, not finished objects. We're talking like, that's one thing, but like I have nothing to show. So
wait. I have a half object.
Okay.
I think I have a half object. Yes, I do have a half object. I have a sock.
Woohoo!
And by half object, I did the cuff, the heel, and
oh my gosh.
And it's a short, it's shorty sock actually doesn't even matter because it's a cranked tube from Kelly. This is about the level of knitting that's happening in these parts right now.
Yeah.
Half sock where 90% of the knitting was not required to be done by me.
Oh.
And I have the other cuff on the needles. I haven't joined the contrast yarn, but I at least have them on the needles.
I actually have been working on the sock pattern for the next season of Vermont Box, but I don't really want to show it because I showed enough of it last time and I don't want to show like the whole thing. So I won't show that.
As we get closer to the release date for that one in August.
So
we'll
like a
get to
month.
show more. Yeah, like a month.
Can you believe it's July?
No, I can't.
I sort of can and I can't. Like, I was ready for June to be over with because it was so hot. Like, I'm not a hot weather person. I love winter more than summer. And I know people are like, oh, but yeah, like spring and fall for me they're kind of like a tie because there's things about both that I really like, but those are my two favorite seasons, and then winter and then summer. So
yeah,
we're not in my favorite season right now because I'm fine in winter. Like, I can dress up in so many layers and stay warm, and I'm happy to go about and do my chores and whatever I have to do. So, yes, snow and cold make things more difficult sometimes, but I don't know. I can function in cold and I can't function in heat.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge. And for me, it is literally the humidity. Like, I've been in Vermont for 20 years. I have not fully acclimatized or adjusted. I deal with it better now than when I first moved here. Yeah. But I mean, I grew up with dry heat. I don't mind the heat. That is not a problem.
Yeah.
It's that sticky, oppressive. I'm going to cut a whole bunch of this out.
That's good because I'm like totally frozen.
You were. I'm going to cut a whole section out. Anyway, so yeah, the humidity is just, I have not adjusted to that anyway. So
yeah, it is challenging. The humidity is, for me, what's worse too. Like today we're supposed to have dew points in the 70s, like high 60s and low 70s, that's uncomfortable.
It's just unpleasant on so many levels. So.
Yeah, that's why I've got my breathable clothes on today, because we're going to start working on putting fence posts in 90 degrees with 70-degree dew points. So.
I wish you well, Kyle. I'll check in at the end of the day to make sure you're still
I know. I'm getting my water bottles all lined up.
Yep. Pretty much. Pretty much. So the only other thing that I've been working on is my gold wing. Oh, wait,
yes.
Garden Gate.
Garden Gate. Yeah.
I don't even know what sweater I'm working on. Garden Gate. So, I say like, oh, I haven't been doing that much knitting, but clearly I have, because I am on the ribbing for the bottom of this sweater.
Wow. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm making progress, and I think I'm going to do this as a short sleeve sweater. Just because I think it will give me more wearability in different seasons. It is a fingering weight sweater, so it's not superly hot anyway.
Because that'd be really cute under a blazer or something too. You could even wear it for work, Yeah. That'd be really pretty.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think I am going with the short sleeve. So that will make this quick. And I think my plan is to finish this one and then pick up the longitudes tee, because again, that's another one that like I'm ready to it's a bottom up sweater, so I'm ready to divide for the sleeves. It's a short sleeve sweater, and so I really have just like this little bit that's super fast anyway to do, and I have 2 sweaters done. Like, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. And they'll be good. They'll be really nice transitional pieces for fall too.
Absolutely. So I need to get in gear. Well, and I think the other problem here is that I'm stalled out for what I want to knit next. I can't decide. I'm thinking maybe a shawl. Like, I'm kind of feeling maybe a shawl thing.
I know, that's funny because I started knitting that Amy Christopher's shawl that I picked up. And I haven't knit, except for on the socks I'm designing. I really haven't done much knitting at all. I've had some cranky sheep orders that's what I'm working on at the moment. Separating out some tubes, and because I want to get these off in the mail today.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, doing lots of outside chores. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that we cut up a really big tree. Well, Bob did. He's like, all right, here's the deal. He's like, you can either use the chainsaw or you can use the tractor. And I was like, well, I'm not using the chainsaw, so you can chainsaw, I'll tractor. So I was hooking up branches and pulling some of the bigger branches out with the tractor not as he was cutting. I waited until he got some of that stuff done. Because I didn't want the big branches. Some of them were big branches. It was a much bigger tree. I mean, we knew it was good size, but it was a much, much bigger tree than we had anticipated. And the bar on his chainsaw is only 18 inches and the tree was thicker than that. So he's been using a chainsaw for a long time. So he was able to get it.
I'll have to ask John and see what the length is on ours, because we've got one too, just so you know.
Okay.
It may be the same size. I don't think it's a giant one, but
yeah. I mean, for the most part, it's rare that, we need to cut anything bigger than that. But it was a tree that had come down in a storm a while ago, and we had been meaning to cut it up for some time. But it came out, the whole thing just tipped over. So the root ball, we're still part way in the ground. So it was actually still alive, but it was starting to die because the bottom of the tree was, in the ground, like it had, with mud and rain and stuff, it had started sinking in. So the lower parts of it were rotting, but the upper parts were still alive. So it needed to come out, because it wasn't, it wouldn't be that much longer and it would just be dead, but completely. But so that was good.
Good firewood too.
Yeah. So we got that done because it was where we were going to extend some pasture out to. So we needed to get it out of there for that purpose. But
nice.
And we're gonna put some fencing in today. We got it kind of marked out where the fencing is gonna go, and we're gonna go through and start getting that done.
Cool. Nice.
And you saw Bob come in so excited because the excavator that we wanted to use, he did all the excavation work when we built the barn originally and the garage, and he does such a good job. But I think he's getting close to retirement, so he's not doing a lot of jobs anymore. He's either taking really big jobs that he'll keep him busy all summer, or smaller jobs. But a lot of times excavators are great because if you've done work for you before, they're more likely to do work for you in the future.
Yeah.
So, and we had a hard time getting a hold of them. Of course, this time of year, they're really busy. And so he called, Bob was calling him, and finally got a hold of him, and actually to talk to him. And Bob came in and saw him, and Bob was like, he was so excited.
He was so excited. He was like a little kid on Christmas. He was like, the excavator's coming.
I know. So, because we're putting an addition on the barn for the sheep, because we're going to have the ewes the ewes are going to get the new addition because it's going to be bigger. And then the rams are going to get, the ram and the wethers are going to get the stall that was my horse's stall.
Nice.
So, but when they all first come, they're all going to be together because I'm going to get the wethers. They won't be wethers when they show up. They'll be rams when they show up, but they're going to get weathered soon after they arrive. So then everybody will be going out together until my little ram shows up, but he's not coming until August. So by then we should have the barn situation all sorted. So nice. And then it's nice because the way we are setting up our paddocks and pastures, everybody's going to have the two groups will have their own separate areas, because obviously you don't want the rams and the ewes together, the ram and the ewes together, just one ram.
Yep. So I have a kind of an interesting acquisition.
Oh boy.
Not interesting. I don't know. Well, that was an interesting word choice. So you all know, or maybe you don't know, we carry Woolen & Co. Products in the store, and she's out of Seattle, Washington, and so
we're almost like all out of her stuff at the moment. We're really low.
Really low.
Yeah.
But she makes wool wash in like bar form, and she makes soap, and she makes these really nice like hand salves, and she may be making some other things at this point. But so one of the things that she recently offered, and I don't know if they're still available or not, but she put a lot of her wool washes like the ends, so the little pieces that get cut off of the ends that aren't sort of the standard bars, and she put them into like a variety pack.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's like a cool way to try a bunch of different scents in the wool washes, but not commit to a whole bar of it. But it's also a great way for her to get rid of and utilize all of the little scraps.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah, so this was like she's like a spring scent and then like a summer scent line where like I want to say flavors, but that's the wrong word. Like the scent combinations, change. And so I can't remember if this was the spring or the summer one. But it's just, it's like, I want to say there's like 10 or 12 different like varieties in here, and they're all just little tiny pieces. And the wool wash bars last a really long time. So a full bar will last you a huge amount of time. So these little ones, you get quite a bit of use out of them and get to try different scents.
And honestly, cool. I'm kind of like with my scents, I'm kind of the same way I'm with my colors. Like I love so many colors and I love so many scents that it's kind of fun just to use a different one for, depending on how you feel,
Exactly. So I thought that was a super cool idea. Like,
yeah, that's a really neat idea.
What a great way to like have almost like zero waste and utilize all of your product and get people the opportunity to try a whole bunch of different, it's like almost like a little sampler pack kind of. So
yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea that, she doesn't have this waste, because she probably just had a bunch of it, if she might use it for herself, but there's only so much wool wash you can use.
I know.
Especially for as many batches as she's probably making. So that's great. That's a really smart idea.
Yeah. And of course there may have been another like full size bar that made it into my order as well, because I think it was like apple and sage. Like it's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, it smells so good. So she does some really interesting scent combinations that are really fun and really amazing. And she's done some products for our prior seasons of Vermont Boxes. In fact, one of her wool wash bars is in the gift bag for this go around. So anyway, I think next week I may have some other things to show, because there might have been some other stuff ordered or pre-ordered, or I don't know. Maybe.
The only thing that I ordered was a new phone.
Oh.
I hate getting new phones because I just like don't use them. So I found one that it's got a really good, it's a Motorola. It's a new Motorola that came out, and it's got a really, really good camera on it, because that's pretty much what I use. I use some texting, checking my email, posting to Instagram, and pictures. And that's what I use my phone for,
Yeah.
And so my phone, when I was visiting some of my sheep, when the little lammies came up behind me when I was taking some pictures, knocked it out of my hand. It landed on its corner on the rock I was sitting on, and it got just one kind of like swoopy crack that I'm like, I can live with that. It's not a big deal, no problem. I was out running errands on Tuesday, and I had a hoodie sweatshirt on, and it was in my pocket, and it fell out onto, I don't know, it was concrete or pavement or something, and it like
phone.
Yeah, it's like all cracky now, and like you can feel the little glass shards, so I have to be like really, really careful with it. And I was so bummed. So this was a hand-me-down phone, because my phone that I had before this like just died. Like it stopped working. Black screen, like nothing turned on. It won't.
Screen of death.
Yeah, it would not come on. I tried plugging it in and unplugging it, and doing a hard reboot. Nothing. So I was like, great. And that was right as we were going out of town for a wedding last fall. And so I knew what my SIM card was from my phone, and my parents are pretty good about upgrading their phone pretty regularly. So I was like, I bet my dad has one that I can borrow. So I was like, Dad, we're headed out of town. I'm like, do you have a phone that takes this kind of SIM card? And I looked that up, and I was like, these models, because they do the iPhones, which my phone wasn't. I had a Samsung before, and so he had one, and that was this one. And I'm like, I'm just not having good luck with phones. This is like not my time for phones. But the thing is, so this one had a battery pack case that they gave me for it, so it would keep the battery. I mean, I could go like 3 days without charging the battery. Wow. But because this is an older phone, sometimes the battery packs on those, they wear out the battery, the internal battery. So the screen was actually starting to puff up because the battery was getting so hot. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to use the battery pack anymore. And so I took that off. And of course, I didn't get a case for it because I hadn't had it that long. And I was like, it'll be fine or whatever. And that was my mistake. So my new phone, when I ordered it, one of the, air cushion case things for it. I'm like, we're not going to make this mistake again.
Yeah. As everyone can imagine, with my lifestyle and my household, not only do I have cases on my phone, but I get one of the like glass screen protectors. So if anything breaks, that's what breaks, and then it can get popped off and a new one.
Well, my parents, when I got this from my dad, it had one of those on it, but that actually cracked. And so it was doing its job. It did its job. It was doing funky things to, like, when I was trying to do the touch screen. Mm-hmm. So I ended up taking that off. But yes, I have a case and one of the glass screen protectors coming for my new phone. So I'm not messing around, but I hate spending money on cell phones because I don't know. I don't use cell phones a ton. So it just, I don't know, feels weird to me to spend, but that's why I didn't go with like one of the really she phones, because I just was like, I'm not spending that much money on that.
You mean like a fancy iPhone, like what I have?
I know, right? I was just, because I don't buy them that often. I went in and I was looking at some of the prices on cell phones. I was like, what? Yeah. Like, what? Like, sorry, nope.
Yeah. Well, what's happened is the model that's getting pushed now is you're basically leasing a phone. I mean, it's not, they say you're paying it off. So it's like 0% financing with like a monthly charge on your bill for the phone. And gotcha. So instead of them offering deals and people buying the phone outright for $400 or $500 or $600, they're keeping it full price. You pay it off over time at like $35 or $40 a month, and it's just added to your monthly bill. And so they say it's 0% interest, which it is, but it's like a payment plan, and part of it's just a push so you'll constantly upgrade your phone.
Because it makes it more palatable if you're not shelling out whatever the cost of the phone is.
$1,000 for the phone. So that's the new model that they have seemed to have gone to the last few years, or at least Verizon, because that's who I have my cell stuff through. So
yeah, I think they all are doing that. The one I got is just an unlocked one, so I can use it with any carrier, but the unlocked ones, a lot of times you can get a pretty good deal on. So
yeah.
But yeah, so the phone that I'm getting, it wasn't like super, super expensive. I mean, it was expensive, but it wasn't like
turned into the like non-knitting show.
I know, right? But it's got the camera is a 48 megapixel camera.
Oh, wow.
Like the main camera. It has 3 cameras on it.
Yep.
So we'll see. I'll report back to you, and, I'll take some fun yarny pictures or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn it back around to yarn.
Perfect. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like this little cell phone that I have, it's the iPhone. I think it's the 10, 11. I don't know. It's whatever the newer one is. Yeah. I had to get a new phone in March. So the quality of pictures that this thing takes is like outrageous. Like it's better than a lot of just like point and shoot cameras. I mean, the technology is just incredible.
Well, and the thing is,
even just like
most people have their phone with them all the time. So, I take more pictures now than I ever did because, I go out in the evening to close in the chickens and there's a great sunset and I've got my phone with me so I can snap a picture,
Exactly.
So it's kind of funny, and you don't have to pay for, picture processing unless you want prints done. So you can take as many pictures as you want as long as you've got the storage and, and it's not like a big deal. So
absolutely.
Whereas film, with film before, when we were kids growing up, you had to be a little bit more picky about what you were taking pictures of.
Yep. Absolutely. Which is why there's like, I don't know, 9,000 pictures on my phone. Cause
I know. I've got some like cloud backup for some of my pictures, but I do try to go through every once in a while and delete ones, that
so you're like, do I really need that?
Yeah. Well, I use my phone a lot too at the shop if I'm taking pictures of yarns that just came in.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up with all these yarn pictures and I'm like, I don't need these anymore. They did their job, they're up on the website, so I don't need them anymore.
Yep.
But so those kind of ones I can go through and get rid of. But
yep.
Look at this.
That's awesome.
Fun.
So much fun.
It's so fun. There's
so
one
fun.
stack. There's another stack.
Awesome.
I know.
It's so fun. So much fun. So the Great Northern Yarn Haul is happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sure is.
It's
I have to go over and read about it because I want to make sure I understand how it's working this year.
I don't know that I have those details. I do know that it's starting July 17th.
Yeah, it's later this year than it has been in the past. So.
Yep. Running into early August. And they have a Facebook page. They're out on Instagram. Like, go check them out. All the details are up there. The various shops. There's actually quite a number of shops. A lot of them in Vermont. There's a handful in New Hampshire and a couple in Maine. So those are all states that we can, and in places where we can regionally travel without having to quarantine and the whole nine yards. So I think, there's some fun stuff that's happening with those. It's going to look a little different this year, but it should still be a lot of fun. And I think a lot of shops are excited and looking forward to it as a way to sort of, promote what we have and get people out and into the yarn stores. So Kelly's frozen again. I'm talking to myself. Oop, she's back. Ooh, we got robot voice.
It's really funny whenever you freeze when it comes back, like I can hear you before the video starts.
So you're
like, oh, we're coming back.
We're coming back on.
So better stop making faces.
The other thing that we found out recently is that the 2020 Lake Monster season has been canceled. There's no minor league baseball happening this year. So our normal stitch and pitch in August is not going to happen at the stadium. We'll have to talk and see if there's something else that we can do, or we'll just do it next year. Which is probably more likely, just because that's the way things are going. And we should have some updated information on the retreat soon. We're still trying to sort out all of those details and what's happening with that. So stay tuned. That probably in the next, we have a meeting and we probably will have some more information early this next week. So we should have that for you very soon.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I've got too much else or anything else.
I don't. I'm really boring this week.
Yes. No, I've
been
chatting about other stuff.
I was going to say, I've been doing enough other talking about things that are not really knitting related. I could talk about my chickens too, but we have a new rooster. shaking things up in the hen house.
Why?
It's so funny. So he's so timid because he's little. He's only 2 months old. He's 2 months old, and his name is Bert because a friend of my husband's had Bert and Ernie. She never had Americanas before, and she's like, I'll get a couple Americanas chicks this spring. Both the Americana chicks she got were roosters.
Oh man.
Yeah, so she was so bummed. She's like, do you guys want one? So I think next year we're actually going to incubate our own eggs and raise chicks ourselves, because we've got some Americanas and we really, really like the Americanas. They're a little bit more flighty and not as sociable to people, but they're also not as mean to each other. And and their eggs are the bluish green ones, which are really fun.
They're cool.
So Bert, he's about a couple weeks younger than the young chickens that we have right now, and they're all separated. So the young chicks are in their own coop. The older hens are in a different coop, and so we were like, oh, he's kind of close in age to the younger ones. Let's put him in there and see how he does. So I put him in. Oh, the rooster that's in there, he's a Rhode Island Red, and he's a young guy. And they all seem fairly mild mannered, but I put poor Bert in there, and they just like went after him unmercilessly. And so I was like, oh, you poor little guy. So I pulled him out, and I have a dog crate. I ended up putting him in the dog crate so he would be safe and nobody would, come after him. And sometimes you can slowly introduce them. So when they get used to them being around, then they'll be more accepting. But he's so timid, and it's a new place and everything. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll try him with the older girls. They're a little bit less intense. So I put him in, and I put him in the coop in his dog crate, and so they could just kind of get used to seeing him. And then I let him out. He did a couple laps around the coop, and a couple of the bigger, more aggressive hens came over and were like, whack. And they pecked him. He went running back into his crate, and I was like, oh, buddy. So I'm hoping that when he's a little bit older, and he'll be a little bit more assertive, and then they'll probably leave him alone, because they actually, the rooster that we have now was from a different batch of chickens than the older hens, and they got used to him really quickly. But so we'll see. I don't know. Poor Bert. Hopefully it'll work out. If not, we'll have to find him a new home. Wish we will, but
yeah. So fingers crossed that they all settle down.
Yeah. It usually just takes time, so.
Yeah. Nice.
He's really cute though. He's got these feathers on his cheeks, so he looks like he's got these big mutton chops. He's got this big fluff out on the sides. It's really funny. I'll have to take a picture of him because he's really cute.
Nice.
That's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right.
So, thanks everybody for coming and spending some time with us. We thought we were going to have a short podcast, but I think we're probably about our normal time frame because, Kelly and I have just been talking about all kinds of other stuff. So
talking about everything but knitting.
Yep.
No, we did talk a little knitting.
Little teeny tiny bit of knitting. Yeah. Pretty fun. So
we still do have some Seasons of Vermont boxes. We've got just a couple. I don't think we have many left, but we have a few, and they're really lovely. So
yeah, that's the one with the shawl and the Wing and the Prayer Farm yarn and the beautiful cork bag, and
those are really cool. I know. Yeah.
It's a really neat box. So
it is. It's very cool.
Don't wait. Act now. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by and spending some time with us. And we hope everybody is well. And we will see you all soon. You noticed I've stopped saying we'll see you next week because it's been, strange times for everybody. And the goal and the hope is to try to do this every week, but we've run into
Yeah.
a few snags along the way. So we try our hardest to bring it every week, but if we're missing 1 week, it's probably just something happened. Life got in the way or somebody's schedule, probably mine, got us off track, but we're, shooting for every week. And this will probably go up this afternoon because I'm at my office. So I'm going to get it edited and just let it go, because otherwise it's a mess if I try to take it home. So you guys have been through all that with me. So
Yep.
So we'll see y'all soon.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Totally likely that we wander off into the weeds.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And you're doing the freeze frame thing on and off too. So.
Oh, well, you froze on me and then I was like, oh.
I know.
I was like, I hope she could still hear me. I just like kept talking and I'm like, I think she's frozen.
So that's weird. Like you were frozen on my screen and I couldn't hear anything. And then it's like when it restarted, it just started where you left off. It's like odd.
Yeah, that's weird.
No idea what's happening.
Well, my internet, so it was down this morning. I didn't have phone or internet.
Yeah.
And so when I called them, I just assumed I was going to get somebody. I figured they probably had somebody on call like all the time, like answering service calls. But no, they have an answering service when they're not there. And I was like, they're a big enough company now that they should have their own person to handle that kind of stuff. I was really shocked.
Yeah.
And so, answering services, they're answering services. They can relay information, but so anyway, I was like, yeah, so we've got an outage. I just wanted to report. And she's like, oh, well, where are you? So I told her where we are. And she's like, yeah, they have a problem and they're fixing it, but they don't really have any information. And because there wasn't a storm, they don't know where the problem is. And I was like, great.
Awesome.
And of course, being answering service, she was like, yeah, we don't really know what the deal is or when it's going to be fixed. And I was like, okay, so it could be 10 minutes or it could be all day. But it wasn't all day, obviously. So, but it could still be sketchy because you never know.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's okay.
So since we're in the outtakes, I can pop up the bear stories here. So if you don't follow me on social media, you have missed the bears. I'm happy to insert the video into the end of the outtakes because it's been caused so much excitement for everybody at my house and on the internet. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's not a lot of people don't see bears. I mean, if you go hiking a lot, there's a good chance that you'll probably see them. But
yep.
The bears and the chipmunks, they actually did a story. Bob said that they did a story about chipmunks, that how many that if people were like thought they were seeing a lot of chipmunks this year, that it actually is a thing.
Right.
But bears, I think the same thing.
Exactly. So we had over the weekend, so we know that we have bears in the area. We have not, I've seen one of them when I've been out driving, but people kind of share information back and forth in the area. And so there is at least 3 adult bears in the area, and one of them has 2 cubs. So
the one that was in your backyard.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys have heard me talk about, I think last week I was telling you about how my bird feeder got nailed by some bear. And so that got taken down, and we had some suet feeders on the edge of the property, and then those got hit by a bear. So they came down. So Saturday night we were sitting eating dinner in our dining room, and I'm looking out the window into the backyard, and I see this little tiny bear cub just pop out of the woods into the yard, and I'm like, huh. that can't be.
You're like, is Ella
Yeah,
inside?
everybody was inside, and I might have almost said something really inappropriate because I just, like I just
It was reactionary. You were just like, oh crap.
yeah, and it was so just like normal, like it just wandered out of the woods and just sat down in the yard, just and was looking around, and I'm thinking, well, that's not good.
Oh my
So then,
gosh.
of course, everybody, because I say something, and then everybody's like, up and looking out the windows, and like William walks over to the door, and we're like, "Don't go outside," we're
Yeah,
trying
right.
not to be all panicky, but at the same time, like, you have to stay inside.
Yeah.
And so, we started watching, and I could see Mama walking through the woods, and
Yeah.
she walked right over to the tree where the suet had been, and like stood up on her back legs and was like sniffing all around.
She's like, where'd that go?
Yeah, I know. And then, she lumbered a little further, and she sniffed her nose into a birdhouse that we have there in the area as well. And then she promptly walked herself through one of my planter boxes.
Of course.
I was like,
Did she use it as a litter box? Because,
No, but she just walked right through. In fact, I have a picture of her as she's partway through it, because I was like, seriously? Like, really?
I know, right? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Mama.
And then the two baby bear cubs, pulled some blueberries off our blueberry bushes. So between the bears and the chipmunks, we're not getting any blueberries this year. That's for certain.
Yeah.
And so I turned the camera on and actually got some pretty cool footage of, Mama Bear lumbering through our yard with her two little cubs following.
I know, and they're pretty good size, so she must have had them pretty early on.
Yeah,
because they're big.
Yeah, so I'll put that video in, so if you missed it on social media, you can see. I mean, it's pretty cool, and that's relatively close to my house. So I didn't zoom out very much on the video. Like, I could have thrown a rock and hit them. I mean, I have a pretty good arm, but like they was maybe 10 feet or less from my house where they were walking. So that's been a source of a huge amount of excitement. I know I got a lot of comment, people like concerned because we have the kids, and are we going to call Fish and Wildlife? And the answer is no, because here, Fish and Wildlife, unless they are being aggressive or really starting to be a nuisance, they won't do anything. Like I live in the woods. I share habitat with them, and we can coexist. So we've done things to remove the food sources.
Well, and that's it. That's the large majority of it. If you don't have garbage out, if you don't have bird feeders out, there's not much you can do about your garden and berries and things like that. But, as we go more into summer, like my black raspberries are starting to come out. So as there's more food sources for them in other places, you won't see them as often too.
Right. Well, and a couple nights later, they came through and they flipped our compost.
Oh, they
flipped our entire compost bin. I don't know if it was that bear or one of the other ones, because we do have 3 different adult bears in the area.
Oh my gosh.
So, but here, the thing is that if we had been outside and the dog had been outside with us, the dog would have barked and the bears would have just bypassed our yard. Like they would not have come out into the yard. They would have stayed in the woods, and we wouldn't have seen them. So the reason they came into the woods into our yard is because nobody was outside.
Yeah. I mean, the only time they typically get aggressive is in the spring when they're really hungry and have just woken up. And if they have babies and you get between the babies and the bear. I mean, most of the time they don't want to be near you. They don't want to hurt you. They just want food.
Exactly. And so, I think those,
especially the black bears, which is all we have really. So
so I mean, we've of course talked to the kids. If you see them, you need to come inside, and they're required to be outside with the dog now. So I mean, that's really all we can do, and just keep an eye on them. And if the behavior starts to change or become more aggressive, then then we would call Fish and Wildlife or somebody else
Yeah.
to come deal with the issue. But as of right now, they're just doing what bears do, looking for food, and all we can do is remove their food sources from the outside. So
Yeah, I know. And I'm wondering how it's going to go. So, I mean, we've composted for a long time, and on occasion we see foxes and raccoons and skunks and things around near where our compost, because we've got the big manure pile and we compost that with our food scraps too. And so, we're just kind of used to seeing them around. But I'm wondering so Vermont just passed a law. Well, a number of laws went into effect in July 1st.
Yeah, this one
one of,
I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago, actually.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's mandatory composting, or you can't put food scraps in the garbage anymore. If you compost at home, you can put meat, bones, and grease in your garbage because they don't want those out in the compost. One, because it does draw more animals, and two, they don't break down very well in a home composting situation. So you do have to do other compost, or you can just do it through your garbage pickup. They are going to be providing
assuming
that
they are
service.
providing that service, because that's been the breakdown, is that not all of those are
really, they haven't gotten into
nope. And they're saying that they're not. A lot of the bigger ones aren't. So anyway, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and so it'll be interesting how that goes. And we also have the plastic bag ban now too, so
all kinds of fun things happen on July 1st.
Yeah, I know. So, and it's big changes that, especially people who haven't, we've been composting for a long time, and but for people that especially live in more urban areas, it's going to be more challenging because they can't as easily as I can compost at home. So it's just a different step. Like, we've got like a nice stainless steel bucket with a lid that sits on our counter, and we just throw, as we're cutting up veggies, we throw scraps into that and then take it out on a regular basis to the compost.
We have one of those too.
Yeah. And it's just what we do. Because, it's easy enough for us, and it cuts way down. It's surprising how much it cuts down on your garbage. Yeah. That and recycling. I mean, we have very little garbage that we produce on a regular basis. And of course a lot of our vegetable scraps that are, well, either vegetable scraps or vegetables that have gone kind of past where we would kind of want to eat them, we just give that to the chickens anyway, and they love it. So
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, and I think the changes. So there's a single-use plastic ban in Vermont now, and so what that means is if you're coming into the store,
yes, it does mean a change for us too.
Yeah, it's and there's some conflicting information out there, but I did go and read the statute, and the statute's actually pretty clear. So we have implemented what is required by the statute, which is we have to charge for paper bags. Like it's goofy. Like we can't use plastic bags, which we didn't do anyway. But
the paper bags that we've been using all along, we now have to charge people for them. No less than 10 cents.
Yeah. And so I get it, because the intent is to encourage people to bring in their own bags to use. So anyway, so you'll see that change at the store if you shop with us. And I think we're allowing people to bring in their own bags, but they're going to have to bag their own stuff up.
Because of COVID at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And otherwise we'll have to charge for the paper bag 10 cents. So we're sorry. That is what the law says.
Yeah. I know. Well, and they did it somewhat to encourage, people reusing their bags. But they also said that we know that there's a bigger fee for buying paper bags for the companies. So, you know, we want to help them offset that by making it so that it's mandatory for them to charge 10 cents. So
yeah, it wasn't one of those, because sometimes they'll write statutes that say that are permissive. So it's like the company can charge if they want. This says
one is we have to.
Yeah, it says you shall charge. So it's a big difference, and that shall is what makes it mandatory for us.
Yeah.
So anyway, we don't want to get into trouble with somebody for not charging. So I don't know who that would be.
I know.
But we just want to make sure we're doing things the way we're supposed to. So.
On the up and up.
On the up and up. So you will see that charge if we give you a paper bag on your receipt. And I think it's called the mandatory state paper bag charge.
I did. I put state mandated paper bag charge or something, a fee. I did state mandated paper bag fee.
And Kelly froze again. Awesome. Is she back? She may be back. Maybe not back. I don't know. So you guys get to look at a still of Kelly and me talking to myself.
There we go. Oh, there's voice back.
We're back.
It was the same thing for me. I was like, there's a nice picture of Ange.
And I think we've pretty much sussed out that because my computer is the one recording, that it records what's happening on my end. So anyway.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting here frozen. Hopefully you don't get like a horrible shot of me. Like,
no, well, no, not this time, but it is possible.
I know, right? That's all right.
Oh boy. Anyway, fun times. So yeah, so it's been, the bear adventure. I was kind of making fun of it on my Instagram page, that the chipmunks, I should do this whole thing now, that the chipmunks had lodged a formal complaint about being blamed for all of the garden damage. Which I still think is accurate, chipmunks, for the record.
I know.
But anyway.
They have been little jerks because we've got fencing up around, but they have dug under it, even though it's buried, but they have dug underneath. And so we had
what kind of chipmunks, or what kind of fencing do you have? Is it like chicken wire?
It's not chicken wire, and it's a bigger mesh. So that's part of the problem. It keeps like deer and bigger animals out, but not the chipmunks. I'm
trying to convince somebody to hook an electric fence up to the chicken wire to deal with the chipmunks. I think they're a giant nuisance, but
I know they've been bad. So like almost, let's see, I had like 20 broccoli plants. I think I've got maybe, I don't know, 8 left. They've like eaten the tops off of them. I'm so upset because I love broccoli and we eat a ton of broccoli that I wanted to freeze a bunch this year.
Yeah.
But no.
Their vegetable of choice at my house is my squash plants. So I've tried 2 or 3 times with pumpkins and like butternut squash, and I am not able to get them. They'll get to about this point, and then they've either pilfered the seeds, so they'll come through and dig through and pull the seeds, or if I'm able to sprout them and then put them in, they'll just come and just rip them out. So I'm a little annoyed. I keep trying though. I have lots of seeds, so I keep trying.
Yeah. Some of my zucchini plants, I had more that came up, but I think the same thing happened. I think they went under and they took some of the seeds, but I've got 2 that are very well established. So hopefully, knock on wood, they'll be okay. But I put the have a heart trap in, and I caught one of the chipmunks yesterday. So
good. Stinkers.
But, I know they are.
Total stinkers. Anyway, there's been lots of wildlife out and about at our house.
Yeah, there's been a lot this year.
Yeah.
I think the weather is just so weird, and there's been some weird changes. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Sometimes it just goes in cycles like that too.
I had a friend of mine over. She's in the North Ferrisburgh area. She texted me a picture. It wasn't hard. You couldn't see enough of it. It was either a lynx or a bobcat that just like wandered over and just plopped itself down like in their driveway.
We had a pair of them. We had a pair of bobcat hanging around. I haven't seen them this year yet, but we typically see them go through. So, and we've had some coyotes around too. That giant tree that we had down had coyote poop on it. He was just sitting. He must have just been sitting on the trunk, like hunting the rabbits that were in there.
Yikes.
Yep.
What did I just do?
Uh-oh.
Oh, huh. That's not good. How am I going to fix that? Oh, I know. I will knit those two, purl those two together. I have two pearls in a row on my ribbing.
Oh.
So it must have been off a stitch because when I got to the end of the setup row, I had the right number of stitches. So, interesting. Unless there's another double here somewhere that I don't.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, a little decrease will take care of that. Back in business. All right. Well, shall we get this showboat on the road?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Take my glasses off so I can easily tell on the video when we're getting ready to start. I'm just going through it. There we go. Look at those little cues I'm doing. Making my editing job easier is what it is. So
there you go. Yes, you can see when the glasses come off that it's about time to get rolling.
Cut the clip and move the first part to the thing. All right. Anyway. Okay. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Good. Oh, except you maybe just froze. So we probably should just wander through that. Make sure you come back before we start the podcast. Because that's embarrassing to start the podcast with Kelly frozen. Oh,
I know, right? It was so funny. Like right as we were about to start, I was like, "Oh, we froze."
I'm gonna have to put like the hold music.
Angel's gonna start humming. Hey.
All right. Are we ready now?
I think so.
Everybody unfrozen?
Sort of.
Okay.
Something.
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 All right.
For the moment, we're unfrozen.
All right, so let's get started so we're not frozen. He's eating our blueberries.
Another one. That. You should post that on Instagram.
It's all right.
It's okay,
Abigail.
They aren't gonna come in. They're looking for food. He's probably gonna try to eat those. Whoa. They're probably gonna.
Mama's looking for all the good stuff, and we've taken it all down.
They take it all down. Mommy, the cup's so brown and the mommy bear is black. And they're checking out our thing.